Yeah, I'm Lucille, this is Noops. We are gonna run this game. I'm not an expert on the lore, I picked this up for the gameplay, so Noops here is gonna tell you all about what's actually happening.
The world is quiet here.
Let's just get into it. Time starts, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Briny Beach. So in the first book, A Bad Beginning, Briny Beach is the scene where the three wonderful Baudelaire orphans, Violet, Klaus and Sunny, discover that their parents have died in a house fire. They get greeted by the banker Mr. Poe, and he basically says, skill issue, your parents are dead.
Yep. Oh. No. Just had to fit with the math sensitivity there.
So this is a tutorial basically on how the movement works. You play as all three Baudelaire orphans in this game. This is Sunny. Sunny's superpower is biting things. She really likes to bite, and when she bites, she homes into targets, which is a really cool thing that we'll play with a little bit later on in Olaf's house. This is Klaus. He is the booky one. He likes reading books. Basically, Klaus's superpower is he has a really good memory for all the books he's read in his life, and he's really clever. This is Violet, who has Sunny on her back. Violet's superpower is she's an inventor. When she puts the ribbon up in her hair, that means she's coming up with a really cool idea. And she's about to invent an egg lobber with which to MLG 360 no-scope these crabs that are they've stolen the picnic basket from the Baudelaire children.
Yeah, so we have to scare these crabs with rotten eggs, but we can't throw them hard enough ourselves. Oops.
Klaus also can't swim.
Yeah, so these boxes, you gotta jump across, and you can take it really safe. Oh, I even missed taking it safe. The thing about this game is the movement is a bit messy. You can see the camera kind of stutter every time I jump, so that's what we're dealing with here. But if we just take it safe, we can succeed at platforming.
Yeah, so for a lot of the puzzle solving in the game, you need to find some components for one of Violet's inventions, and that's what this section right now. So Sunny's about to go find, I think it's a spring from a car tire, from a bike tire or something.
Yeah.
So naturally, the way to do that is she's going to bite and shred and destroy the whole car. Keep calling it a car, it's a bicycle.
Yeah.
And now these crabs are taking a massive L, skill issue. And shortly, that's the end of the first level. So after the Baudelaire orphans find out that their parents have unfortunately perished in a mysterious house fire, they get adopted by their third cousin twice removed, or their second cousin thrice removed. I might have gotten those numbers wrong, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. Point being, there's a dude called Count Olaf, and he's not very nice. Count Olaf has a tattoo of an eye on the inside of his left ankle. That's why there's eye insignias everywhere. And he's not very nice. Now this fella, the pie chugger, he's not a nice man either. He's one of Count Olaf's acting troupe. Count Olaf's acting troupe basically act as a rogues gallery of scumbaggy villains that like to run around and try and steal the Baudelaire fortune. Basically, the entire ethos of the series is these three kids are going to inherit a massive fortune when they turn of age, and we follow Count Olaf's various attempts to steal that money. There are lots of other colourful characters that we deal with, but this is an adaptation of the Nickelodeon movie that came out in the early 2000s, which adapts the first three books.
Yeah, it's a bit out of order though, isn't it?
It is very much out of order, yeah. But it's less out of order in the game, but it's very out of order in the movie. Both end with the climax of the first book, but this one actually sort of follows the structure of the novels. This one, the movie sort of jumps all over the place.
Yeah. We've got our first big skip coming up. There's a lot of platforming here that you're meant to do. I honestly don't know it, because if you get Sunny to aim at just the right rope, she will jump so far to bite it. She loves biting ropes.
I love this skip so much. It's such a fun skip. Yeah, so Sunny homes in on objects that she can bite, and so yes, you can skip entire platforming sections just like that.
Yeah. The camera actually freezes there because the camera item itself is out of bounds. And why can't I?
This game is coded well.
Okay, I meant to bite this rope. I don't know why that wasn't working.
Awesome. Now, Yes. So we're seeing a lot of objects that have VFD as their initialism on there. In the books, VFD stands for Very Fine Doilies, or Volunteer Fire Department is the actual acronym. Volunteer Fire Department are basically a group of people who go around doing clandestine stuff, is the best way to put it. At some point in the preceding events to the series, there's a bit of a schism, and it goes into the Volunteer Fire Department and the Arsonists. Count Olaf belongs to the Arsonists, but he still has the VFD insignia on his tattoo, which is the eye, because it goes into a V, and then the F makes the eyebrow, and then the D is the actual eyeball itself. None of which matters because they don't adapt the VFD into the eye insignia in this game, but that's why it's an eye.
Interesting.
To be fair, the first couple books, when they have a picture of the tattoo in the illustrations, also have eyes like this, which is what they're going off of. But in later books, I think from the 4th one onwards, it's actually a V and then an F and then a D. And then the Netflix series changes the design into a mockery of itself. This is one of the perfumed ladies. So these ladies in the books, there are 2 of them, and they wear very thick perfume. And that's their character trait. They go around in various disguises, most notably in the 5th book, The Austere Academy, where they're wearing, spoilers by the way, but they're in The Austere Academy, number 5, which is my favourite book of the series, where they're wearing big metal masks to protect themselves from boiling hot soup, which conveniently also hides their identity. So we've made a bug spray device here to get rid of giant mosquitoes, because there are giant mosquitoes.
Yeah. This is a puzzle where we have to spell Olaf in the letters behind the paintings, but I'm going to do it out of order, so it won't look like that. Oh.
Yep, that's on.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, the dial moves really slowly.
You'll also notice this game has a lot of cutscenes, and I'm skipping most of them, but some cannot be skipped. So whenever you see the screen kind of flicker, that's me skipping a cutscene.
Awesome.
But there are plenty like this that we have to watch. I believe because the developers decided if you skipped this by accident, you wouldn't know what was happening.
Don't get distracted.
It's important information.
Yeah,
We're in the library, which I believe is supposed to be in Justice Strauss's house.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Which is a design choice. Justice Strauss is Count Olaf's neighbor. She provides a beacon of hope in the first book. Basically, it's not all bad. They have Justice Strauss as their neighbor, and she lets them read their book, some of her books in her library. But she comes in and plays a slightly antagonistic role towards the end, which we'll get to when we get there, I guess. Yeah. It's a library. You're going around looking for... I can't remember what this invention does.
This is the... like the... Oh, it's not the grappling hook, it's the other...
No, it's a...
It goes bam, it hits things.
Oh, is it the bopper?
The bopper?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
This bell pull rope should be long enough.
Maybe. I don't remember.
You
Yeah,
pull a lot of levers from a distance.
Oh, right, yeah. It's like Indiana Jones's whip, basically.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, so you have the bopper already in your inventory, because that's what you make in the first level.
Yeah, this thing. We made this thing.
Yeah.
The camera misbehaves in this room. It kind of makes you do a loop.
This game is
friendly.
well coded.
I mean, honestly, I love the developers of this game. They made a lot of games I enjoy. 7 of these 3D platforming kind of games. So I think they did good work, and this was their last one.
Yeah, I kid. They have done a decent enough job, except for coding elevators. I remember playing this casually, and this elevator was a thorn in my side. Yeah,
this elevator's a pain because you need to jump. The gap is too big, but there's also the lip at the top that's right there. I suppose I'll just kill the bug. Or not? That works too.
That was intentional. So this is what we call mosquito skip.
Yeah, totally. I've never died there before, so that's
never happened
interesting
before.
to find out.
Check it off your bingo cards, everyone. That's never happened before. All right, so we're getting a puttanesca recipe in this level. So puttanesca is Italian for few ingredients, or so I have been told. But basically, the orphans have a lot of chores when they live with Count Olaf. Some of which is like cleaning the floors, sweeping the cobwebs away, so on. But for one of them, they get told, "Hey, where's dinner?" And they hadn't actually been told to make dinner, so they sort of have to improvise a puttanesca recipe pretty quickly off the bat. But they had time to go to the market in the book. In the film, it's sort of like, "Hey, look around Count Olaf's house and cook whatever you find." So they find some pasta in a drawer, and they strain it through a fly screen, and yeah, they find some tomatoes somewhere, I think. In both versions, they cook it in a spittoon, though, which is very unpleasant to think about.
Yeah. I think it's actually the craftable thing with the most ingredients in this game. You need 7 different pieces to make it.
Yeah, so we're getting a recipe book right now. That was also intentional. You need to load the level below first.
Totally.
Yeah, these elevators are a pain.
Yeah. Have to spell VFD on those letters there. It's actually kind of interesting because all the other drawers that you don't hit have 2 letters on them, and then the ones you do hit only have 1 letter each, so you can tell them apart that way. Just climbing this library.
Yeah, for some reason she keeps her Italian recipe book very well guarded.
Yes.
Awesome.
We have to hit these buttons in order according to the stained glass windows. And then there's a small skip here where we can just jump down and we faint out, but it's still fast.
Alright, so this is the Hook-Handed Man. The Hook-Handed Man was a favorite of the filmmakers. They include him in a lot of scenes, some of which he's not necessarily in the books, but that's okay. For good reason, I think. One of the members of Count Olaf's acting troupe is someone who is very androgynous and large, and I think it would have been poorly executed in the early 2000s. So I'm glad they replaced them with the Hook-Handed Man in that specific instance. But the Hook-Handed Man shows up in a lot of places, often wearing prosthetics on his hands or long coat sleeves that also obscure his hands. Awesome. So we're now collecting the ingredients for the puttanesca pasta, which we will be serving to the acting troupe. That's all my fun facts about puttanesca. I didn't actually look up a recipe. Lace, do you have any fun donations or stuff you can read out for us?
No donations, but I can do a little quick reading for you. Just reminding everybody, we are AusSpeedruns, a group doing speedruns events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for Game On Cancer, a charity which funds early career cancer researchers who are working across all areas of cancer research. If you'd like to donate, you can go to donate.ausspeedruns.com. We have a couple of incentives. If you guys want to have a little look around on the website, see which one takes your fancy, pop your money towards that. Whenever you guys are ready, back to you guys.
You can see the ingredients we're collecting. This is actually not the simplest pasta. I can imagine simpler. Like you've got olives, you've got anchovies, you've got onions.
This is a fancy version of puttanesca pasta.
The interesting things about these items in boxes as Sunny is you can actually grab the item directly through the box. It's pretty precise. Oh, I got it. Nice.
Nice.
So we usually don't go for that because you'll just waste more time trying for it. But there you go.
Oh no, a crab!
And while Violet and Sunny are cooking the pasta, Klaus is out here harvesting the tomatoes.
Crab!
Yeah, it's not good enough for the developers for us to just pick up some tomatoes. You actually have to grow them yourself, which is fun.
There, you can see them grow in
These tomato
super
plants are
fast
dried
motion
out.
here.
They need some water.
And we need 5 of them.
You need a lot of tomatoes for puttanesca pasta.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I wouldn't need a 1 tomato pasta.
Is it sad that I would? Like, not a cherry tomato, but like a full-on tomato, I reckon. If you had other stuff with it, like, yeah.
You'd need a lot to make up for it.
That's true. You could do a stuffed tomato with pasta in it. And then, like,
Okay.
roast it on a grill.
Or
Alright,
on
so
the train tracks.
train tracks. This is a scene from the film. Basically, Cannonloff parks the car on some train tracks and locks the kids inside. And they use their grappling hook skills to change the train tracks. And now we're in a factory because that scene doesn't matter. So this factory is broken as all hell, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So we have the perfumed ladies here. They wear a lot of makeup as well. They're throwing horseradishes at us, which
We
is
can use our lobber to get some
wonderful. We're going
We just need to pick
to
up those
throw some
blobs.
ginger at them.
Great idea, Klaus.
Yeah, this game has 10 different weapons that you use. It's actually a kind of intricate combat system that they just designed so you could completely ignore it.
Yeah. Well, they ignored the importance of footsies in their design, and that was just a complete failure on their part.
Yeah, so you can see these health bars in the top right. We won't really be interacting them here. But each enemy has a number of weapons that you can attack them with, and a separate health bar for each weapon. So you've got to knock them down once with each weapon. This is actually interesting. The lady is usually on that bridge, but sometimes she doesn't show up. So that is convenient for us.
She grew a heart. We hear you.
Something interesting about the movement in this game is they actually patched a trick which, in other related games, I like to say this is not a bug, it's just physics. There's this trick where if you jump off a moving platform, you inherit its velocity horizontally. That doesn't happen in this game. They take away the velocity.
That's so rude of them.
Yeah. So they didn't patch a bug, they patched physics. There's a trick where we clip up on this locker like that to jump over this fence. Yeah, this level actually has probably the most tricks out of any level in this game. So here's another skip. We can just jump around here. Oh, second try. There we go. So yeah, you'll see the physics thing again here because it looks really weird, honestly.
Yeah. It's like they apply a hard stop to your forward momentum.
Yeah,
Strange.
but you still keep your vertical momentum, which will matter later. So there's a skip here which hopefully will work. We're avoiding hitting a cutscene trigger, but Klaus hit it. That's why it's tricky, because you have to avoid it yourself, but you also have to get Klaus stuck.
Meet me on the
So
other side.
I did not succeed at that.
No, that's Klaus's fault. Klaus
is
doesn't
Klaus.
care about charity. He just cares about himself. What a mean person. No, Klaus is wonderful. So while Factory, not necessarily a setting directly from the film or the books itself, there is a book number 4 called The Miserable Mill, which is a close-ish analogy to this.
Yeah, there's actually a trick right here. I would call it a wall walk. And we can try it as many times as we want, so I'll try it a few.
Yeah.
Basically, we're trying to get stuck on an invisible seam that doesn't exist. It's a floating point precision issue. But if we do that, we can skip a really long, silent, boring cutscene and some movement too. So I'll just give it a few more tries. The issue is, like, you have to be in the precise spot and aim precisely. And sometimes you just fall through like that. This also may be FPS dependent, by the way, which we haven't looked into on this game, but it is for other related games. Okay, I'm just going to pass it up at this point. That skip is not happening.
Awesome. But yes, there's significantly less hypnotism in the factory level in this game, as opposed to the miserable mill, where Klaus gets hypnotized to basically try and do a murder with sawmill equipment. It's great.
This cutscene is really weird. Like, Klaus just demonstrates how to jump.
Yeah. Well,
Also,
jumping is hard,
yeah.
you know.
These paddles are meant to be flipping up and down. Sometimes they get stuck not doing that. So that's nice.
See, the environment, the enemies, they all care about cancer research. Klaus, nah. He's like, you can waste time.
Oh no. How will I get up there now?
Violet's very concerned, as you can tell from the tone of her voice.
Yeah, it's really worrying. It doesn't particularly matter, but I'm going to get a small vertical platform boost there. I inherited that momentum upwards. If we walk just right, we can cross these corners diagonally without having to jump, which is lovely because the jumping is weird in this game.
That steam looks hot. I need to avoid it. Ow! Ow!
Okay, so we're coming up on a boss fight here against the two ladies. We have to defeat both of them, which actually makes this the most dynamic boss fight in the game. Because you can interleave them depending on if they're close enough to each other, and if you want to manually switch weapons. Which is interesting, because the game tends to automatically choose the correct weapon for you, so you don't have to think about it. And this is the only part of the game where you may actually want to switch weapons manually to optimize a bit. But it depends if they're actually close enough together.
See, she didn't study her footsies, and look what happened.
Help is on the way, Sonny.
I don't remember the onion button, so I'm just gonna stick here. Oh, where'd she go? She ran away. And that's factory.
Alright, so we are now at Uncle Monty's house. Uncle Montgomery is a herpetologist, which means he studies snakes. And he is going to take the children on a Peruvian expedition. They've escaped Count Olaf after he left them on a set of train tracks, and then they randomly went to a factory. So they're in the care of Uncle Monty. This book, number 2, The Reptile Room, is probably the saddest of the entire series, which I know sounds kind of silly, but Uncle Monty is so nice, and things look so good for them here at the Reptile Room that when, spoiler alert, things go wrong, it brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. I did see this in the movie.
Awesome.
We're defeating this guy because we need his basket.
Now to find my way back to Violet. This old tree trimmer is sort of...
Alright. So we haven't actually gotten into the real reptile room yet. This is just sort of Uncle Monty's house. But here, when we go through this cage, this is the actual reptile room. So all these cases are filled with different snakes. And there is one snake in particular that we are interested in. It's called the Incredibly Deadly Viper. The Incredibly Deadly Viper, as opposed to its name, is actually completely harmless. It's something called a misnomer. Something that Lemony Snicket likes to do in his works is he'll go, now, this is a misnomer, which means a name that is not accurate for what it is. And he'll explain like a really big word. Now, he wrote a kid's book that I can't remember the title of, but in it he basically spends 3 pages describing what the word despondent means. It's great.
That's a lot of pages.
There's a lot of pages in a picture book, yeah.
Yeah. Here we've got this mechanic where we're throwing this basket at the snakes to catch them, and it can only hold 3 at a time. So we have to prioritize our routing based on that.
Awesome. So we're now in Uncle Monty's Gardens.
Try the Smasher.
In the console version of this game, so there are multiple versions of this game. The PC version is the most different to the others. But the console versions of this game, this area is very expansive. It's more of a platforming puzzle, whereas here it's more of a maze. You're picking up snakes. It's great. No trouble. No. Awesome. But yeah, you catching reptiles and you put them in baskets. That's more or less all there is to this level.
Yeah.
If we have any donations, now's a great time for them.
The reptile retriever's full.
No donations currently, but I do have a question.
Yes.
The 3 pages, was that front and back?
Probably. Knowing him, yeah, probably.
The reptile retriever.
I might take this opportunity just to remind everybody we are AusSpeedruns, a group doing speedrun events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for Game On Cancer, a charity which funds early career cancer researchers who are working across all areas of cancer research. If you'd like to donate, you can go to donate.ausspeedruns.com. That's it. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Awesome. So we're wrapping up the snake catching now, getting towards the end. Now in the console versions, you end up fighting the hook-handed man in another boss fight on top of a fountain, which is actually a really fun boss fight. Awesome.
Yeah. These reptiles are really hard to spot sometimes because I don't know if their spawn point is randomized, but they move around randomly, so you're not always sure where they are.
A handful of reptiles are still free.
It's literally one Klaus. Stop complaining.
Ew, rat.
Yeah, he always complains at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Klaus is just a really whiny, annoying person, and we don't like him very much.
Let's see if Uncle
both of these kids are honestly very worried about any creature they might see, which is interesting because you can really run past most of them.
Do they know about health bars, honestly?
Yeah. The health pickups in this game are actually kind of nice because you can collect them by running into them or by clicking on them from a distance, which are both convenient at different times.
Yeah. So you notice that each enemy has a particular type of damage they're weak to, and so we sort of work through each health bar as we go, and then we have to give them a whack with the old bopper before we can move on to the next one. You did it, Klaus. Good job. All right. So, in between those cutscenes was like a book and a half. But basically, the incredibly deadly viper is blamed for Uncle Monty's unfortunate death at the hands of Count Olaf. Basically, he poisons him, goes, oh, it was the incredibly deadly viper, and then Sonny goes and hangs out with the incredibly deadly viper because it's not an incredibly deadly viper, it's a misnomer because Uncle Monty is mean to the Herpetological Society. Now we are in the Wide Window, which is the third book. The third book, their guardian is called Aunt Josephine. Aunt Josephine is terrified of absolutely everything. So she's a list of fears, and it's about a mile long. She's basically afraid of her own shadow. She's afraid of realtors. She's afraid of the cold, the warmth, everything. I think the Wide Window is best adapted in the film because they don't spend a lot of time on it, and the bits they do spend on are pretty cool. She lists a whole bunch of her fears right at the start of the scenes. It's like, oh, I'm afraid the doorknob's going to explode and shatter into my eye. I'm afraid the stove's going to catch on fire. And when the hurricane that's about to batter this poor town moves in, all of those things happen, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Not included in the film is a scene where the Baudelaires use their allergy to peppermints in order to get away from a clown-themed nautical restaurant, which I think is a criminally underrated scene.
There you.
Yeah. This level is wrapping up here too. We just got to collect one more item and then do the boss fight.
Yeah, the Wide Window is a pretty short book, pretty short part of the game. Pretty short everything. In the film, it's a short segment because they want to get the Baudelaire orphans back to Count Olaf's house for the climax of the first book, which is a play called The Marvelous Marriage, and it's written by Al Funkut, which for the linguistically minded will know is an anagram of Count Olaf, because the man is obsessed with himself. Actually, we can go into the Count Olaf and his disguises very quickly. Basically, every book, well, not every book, most books, he shows up in a different disguise, and he goes, yes, I'm Count Olaf, and now I am Stefano, the reptile assistant, or I'm Captain Sham, the sea captain, or I'm the hypnotist, or I'm... No, he's a secretary, I think, in the fourth one, whose name I don't remember anymore.
Oh.
So in this level now, the hurricane's moving in, and we're picking up some books to help us translate Aunt Josephine's disappearance note, shall we say, where Aunt Josephine is obsessed with grammar. She corrects everyone's grammar at all opportunities, and then the children come home from going to the market, and they find the wide window that's in her library is shattered, and there's a note on the table for them that basically is filled with grammatical errors. And so the kids look through all these grammar books and they decipher all the grammatical errors that's in there, and they find out that Aunt Josephine is in fact still alive, and she is at a place called Curdled Cave, which we'll be going to shortly.
Now, is it actually grammatical errors as well in the novels?
It's grammatical and spelling errors, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
I
it's
think
like
in the
an
movie
apostrophe.
it was just,
it's just spelling errors, yeah.
Yeah, in the movie it was just spelling.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's an apostrophe in there, but it's like, oh, that's removing this letter, and so on. Awesome. It's a very eggy lever now.
Okay, so maybe it makes sense they need 3 entire books to decode it.
Yeah, so in the book, her entire library is just grammatical books, and it takes Klaus like half an hour of going through these grammar books and solving the rules to make sure they're understandable. But yeah, the bed, it fell into the ocean, oh no. The other thing you need to know about Lake Lachrymose, which is the body of water where the house is it's full of leeches. These leeches like to eat you if you have eaten any food. That's what happened to Aunt Josephine's partner, also she says anyway, Ike. And now we have found ourselves on the way to the Curdled Cave.
Suppose you can't go into a cave without expecting
Yeah.
to find a few.
Oh. Okay, you don't want to fall in that pit.
Yeah,
It's-
Violet also can't swim, even though the water is ankle deep. Ignore that it's green.
Suppose you can't go into a cave
Yeah,
without
like,
expecting to meet
in the movie, I'm sure the leeches lived in normal blue ocean water,
Mm.
but here they seem to live in Gatorade.
I think it's just the new lime prime flavor. Expected in Woolworths near you. Awesome. So we're making stilts now to be able to cross the body of messed up water. It's messed up water. You're gonna walk on stilts. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we actually do a small death warp here, because falling in that water just puts you back to a checkpoint. We still have our oars. And you'll notice here, Violet actually gets out a welding torch, which she always has on her.
Yeah. So you see here Violet tying up
And
her hair.
face protection.
Yep.
Oh, just goggles.
Yeah, your face can't get burned if you're wearing goggles. That's actually a little known OH&S fact.
Feels weird to be this
Yeah.
tall.
But you'll notice there's nothing metal on these stilts.
Nope.
I always thought that was a funny detail.
I just hope they don't like wood. Klaus, you stay here with Sun.
You better get across quickly, just in case.
Yeah, so the leeches eat away at your stilts as you go. If you dilly-dally too long, they will make you fall in the water and you'll get chomped. But
Oh,
we're pro.
Is that true? I've never seen that.
I mean, it's kind of hard to let it fall down. I also don't know if that's true, but if you say things confidently enough, people believe you. It's great.
That's true.
Yeah, we're finding Aunt Josephine now because she's hidden herself away in this this cave to avoid people. All right, all the leeches are gone now.
Yeah. They don't even wait for the water to drain.
Nope.
A Chiroptera, commonly known as a bat.
This is the part where we need a vertical platform boost. We need to inherit just the last tail end of that momentum. And then there again, ideally. And then we just hope the bats don't kill us.
Yeah, you got it. Nice.
Nice.
All right, that's Aunt Josephine. Don't get attached because she's about to go away. All right. Welcome back to Count Olaf's house. So we're in the final stages of the game now. We're gearing up for the Marvelous Marriage, which is Count Olaf's scam to basically marry his own daughter, like adopted daughter, pretty much, in order to then acquire the Baudelaire fortune that way. Don't think about the fact that she's 14. That's not important. So he's written a play. He's basically engineered this play-like situation where he's gotten Justice Strauss, his neighbor, to play the judge in the play, to officiate the fake wedding, which they're doing by the book because it's for authenticity. Now, in the book, this is foiled by Violet simply signing the marriage certificate in her left hand, because it's not of her own hand, therefore it's not a legally binding marriage certificate. I don't know if that works in real life. I wouldn't recommend trying it. In the film, they actually pay a nod to this because she goes to grab it with her left hand, and he goes, "Right hand, please," which I thought was a really cool touch. But in the film, you burn it with a big magnifying glass in the shape of an eye, which is implied as the source of the Baudelaire Mansion fire as well. And this is where I have completely forgotten how this game actually ends. I assume that's also what we do in the game.
Yes. We have a sniping minigame where we shoot the marriage certificate, not people.
Fantastic, yeah. And then you fight Count Olaf at the end.
Yeah, this is our final tool. Is it the hook shot?
Yeah, so it's a grappling hook. So it gets made out of an umbrella and some rope because Violet is busy with the actual play, so Klaus has to invent it, and he's not that good of an inventor, but he's done his best because Sunny is currently dangling from a cage on the outside of a tower on Count Olaf's house. And if Violet doesn't go through with the marriage, which would be under duress, so again, I don't think that marriage certificate would be legally binding anyway, but basically, baby in cage. If Violet doesn't do what he says, he's gonna get the hook-handed man to pull lever, and down goes the baby, cradle and all. But now we fight the hook-handed man to get Sunny back.
Yeah. By the way, there was a decent sequence break in that last level where we're actually meant to find 3 clues to that puzzle solution with the eyes. But I just skipped that because I know the puzzle solution. I have a picture of it on my screen here. Oh.
That was intentional. We need extra health for the Count Olaf fight.
It is actually a lot easier to heal in the Count Olaf fight than here, so, you know. Bad strategy from me. Yeah, and here's a sniping minigame, which is just hilarious to me in this series of 7 non-violent Unreal Engine games. This is when we get to snipe. And these are randomized, so I believe. But Count Olaf is always last. Oh, I missed. I'm gonna blame that on the FPS.
Yeah, they're moving a lot quicker than the FPS. I didn't want to be the one to say it, but they are moving much quicker than they're supposed to. Alright, we're at the boss fight with Count Olaf. Here's a lot of stage direction that helps him out. You gotta pull down the obstructions and shoot him with stuff. And yeah, Violet's in a wedding dress because she's been in this sham marriage. This is canonically with like a whole audience as well, which I find very funny. It's like, yeah, this is part of the play. We're gonna have the bride suddenly start shooting the groom with banana peels and pillow feathers and water balloons and bubble gum. He's throwing wedding cake at us because he sucks.
Yeah, and time is coming up pretty soon, within a minute or so. Yeah, the strategy in this fight is basically you can't hit him when he's behind the shield or when he's crouching like this. And you don't want to get hit by cake, because that stuns you.
Yeah, thanks to context-sensitive inputs, you don't need to actually mess around with stuff too much. You just
and
sort of click.
Time.
Well done. Smashed it. Good job.
Yeah, it was alright. What time did I get?
42:05 for you.
Okay, not bad.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's Lemony Snicket.
Yeah, watch the movie, read the books.
Yeah, it's a fun series. It's also a fun series of video games by no wonder. The last of 7, that's Harry Potter 1, Harry Potter 2, Disney's Brother Bear, Harry Potter 3, Shrek 2, Shark Tale, and then Lemony Snicket. So there's 7 games like this. And they're all worth playing, except I haven't tried Shark Tale. I'm a bit scared of that one.
You haven't tried the best one? Shark Tale's great.
You know, I don't know how this movement translates to swimming. I'm just a bit intimidated.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everyone. My name's Noobs again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm Lucille. Thanks for having me, ASM.
Alright, what a great run that was. A lot of lore in a series of unfortunate events. We do have a $20 donation from Laurel, which does say, enjoying a series of unfortunate events speedrun and excited for the rest of the runs this week. Just putting that donation towards Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past 80% bonus game. If you are looking at, is there something you want to see that is currently in the incentives, I would recommend, please pop it into your donation so we can put it through for you. That's the end of me for today. I'll pop you over to our new host, Nia. I hope everyone has a lovely event.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Neo _. I'll be keeping you company for the next little while. About 6 hours I think. We're in for the long haul today. Up next, we got Cult of the Lamb, any percent, easy, unrestricted, absolutely 0 restrictions in this run. And by Designator 94, just setting up for that one now, will be with you soon. Alright everyone, here we go. Cult of the Lamb by Designator 94 coming up. Let's get it on.